again, it's quite aggressive. So as soon as you put it on, you will hear the difference, and then dial it back. But I've known individuals use it on vocals, even across a mix bus. Before. But I've heard you can use it on a mix bus. No, I don't know if I do that personally. Maybe I don't know. I mean,
it might be a bit of a rescue remedy at that point.
You're listening to the Inside the Mix podcast with your host, Marc Matthews.
Hey folks, welcome to Inside the Mix. I am joined, as I mentioned in the intro there, by Tim Benson, aka R9 again. And we're not actually answering your questions in this episode. This is one that we put together because we thought it'd be good fun. So we're going to be diving deep diving into our respective top 3 free plugins. Tools Tim and I use ourselves in our productions to help you upgrade your mixes and music production without spending a penny. But before we do that, Tim, welcome back, and how are you?
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm not too bad. Been busy as really, one way and the other. Busy mixing and mastering, and occasionally, creating more music as well. Just had a track out, so yeah, been pretty busy.
Indeed, yes. I'll put a link to that in the episode description, as I always do. The title of the track?
Night Trains, actually. Yep. Mm.
Very nice. Where did you get the inspiration for the name, out of interest?
Well, I think it was actually, I was sort of writing the track already, and then I was kind of talking with Carl, actually, aka Neon Highway, and he mentioned something about it being had a European feel to it, and that got me thinking of Trans-Euro Express by Kraftwerk, a classic track, and then I suddenly thought that it had a real moving sort of like travelling vibe to the track, which it had always sort of been in my mind while I was doing it. And I've been looking at images, and sometimes you're trying to come up with a cover, and I actually found a few images that started to sort of go, maybe trains, maybe like moving, that kind of thing. So yeah, it just pieced together really. But and it's funny, it's why I find once you've got a title, you've got an image, you can kind of finish the track sometimes, pull it all together, makes more sense. So yeah, it came together, but Carl is to blame. Mm.
I'd agree with that. The track I'm working on at the moment, I've set aside some time to go through like creating promotional assets like the artwork and stuff for it while simultaneously mixing, and I find that it does help me get in a headspace to then complete the track. It's psychological for me. If I know I've got the artwork and all that stuff sorted out, then I'm like, for whatever reason, I find out I'm able to then finish the mix sooner. Maybe it's a psychological thing.
Yeah, I find the same. Yeah,
it's quite interesting. But on the title of Kraftwerk, I was trying to think. I was in town on the weekend and at a Kraftwerk track came on the radio in a store. It might have been M&S. Can't remember now, but it was quite pleasant. It's quite nice to be out in a shop, and then you have a bit of Kraftwerk come on the radio.
Kraftwerk, yeah, they were definitely a big influence on me when I first got into electronic music. But
nice.
Yeah, definitely. I began to realise that you didn't just have to make stuff with guitars. I mean, they sort of but I don't know why, because they're sort of that band that are sort of like, I don't know, they've influenced so many people, but they're not exactly sort of, they don't shout it. They're quite sort of, they don't come forward. They're kind of these sort of robots making music. It's kind of weird. It wasn't very glamorous, but
but it worked or works.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Folks, before we dive into our top 3 plugins, as we always do with these episodes, if you do have a question about music production, the music industry, mixing, whatever it may be, we would love to hear it. So click the link in the episode description and you can send a quick voice note. Alternatively, you can just click the send me a message link and just send like a text message with your question. And of course, give yourself a shout out as well. So who you are, if you've got something that you're releasing, you want to shout out on that with regards to that on the episode as well, do put that in there. And you can find that in the episode description. So now that's out of the way, digging in to the top 3 free plugins. So 3 from yourself, 3 from me. And I usually start with this, but I'll throw it over to you this time, Tim. What you can start the ball rolling, as it were.
The ball rolling. Okay.
Yeah. What's your first?
It's an impossible task, isn't it? Because there are so many, I realise, like free plugins. But my number one that I put down just because I use it all the time. It's dead simple to use, and it's just like it is TAL Chorus LX. Because if you want a chorus, Juno-sounding chorus, similar to the one on the Juno 106 or the Juno 60 or whatever, it may not be exactly the same, but who cares? It's great. It's great on synths. It's great on bass. I kind of like some chorus on bass. Not everyone does, but I do. I know there's a bit of dissension in the ranks between sort of stereo-ness on bass, but maybe on your top bass, not your sub bass. It can be nice. It works really well on guitars, a little bit on vocals sometimes if you're sending to vocals. I wouldn't insert it right across a vocal, but it's just simple as well. Just like, how much width do you want? And, there you go, kind of thing. How much chorus do you want? Yeah, like it. And there are a couple of different algorithms you can switch between, I think 1 and 2. I've never known what the difference is, but you can have 1 and 2 together as well. But I sort of swap around until I go, that's the one. Yeah.
I often do that with plugins when there's like 2 versions of something, or you can flick between, and I'm just thinking, oh yeah, that sounds better. And I have no idea why. I just switch between the 2 and settle on one of them. But when you mentioned that in the build up to this, I realised I've got that and that particular plugin. The chorus plugin, and I need to make better use of it. It's interesting you mentioned about bass, because as soon as you said that, obviously my eyebrow did raise. But then when you mentioned that it goes back, I guess, to the conversations we've had before, and I've had before on the podcast. Is like there's no reason why you can't use it on bass, because I guess there's a lot of discourse surrounding sub bass, the bass frequencies, and the stereo placement of those particular frequencies. But I mean, you wouldn't want to go wild, but at the end of the day, if it sounds all right, then maybe not sub bass. I don't know. But...
No, exactly. But sometimes just a little bit of width on bass can be nice. So but I know I'm not suggesting we all make our basses super stereo. That wouldn't be a great plan. Yeah. But especially as you say, the low frequencies, you want to keep them. Mono.
Yeah, it'd be quite interesting.
But yeah.
Get a lot of feedback from people saying that their tunes have been denied playlist placements because of this ridiculous wide bass.
Yeah, because of me telling to put TAL Chorus all over it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, disclaimer, folks. Do that with caution. But yeah, I agree with you though with regards to sort of like the mid range of bass as well, and having those effects on there. Specifically, if you're carving's wrong word. If you're creating a synth bass. Then obviously the sort of the sonic soundscape is open to your interpretation. So I often do that. Very good.
It's great on synths. It's great on like all those kind of pads, and all those kind of sounds are probably the things that chorus is really designed for. So many synths have chorus built in now, don't they? VSTs. But again, you can always swap it out and try something like that, which has got a little bit more of a vintage style to it, sort of a bit of character. Again, it might have a bit more character than the kind of chorus that's just in your DAW. I guess that's what you're going for a lot of the time with these free things, is you might well find them in your DAW, but like perhaps some of these you just got a little bit of character that is different than the ones in your DAW.
Indeed. What you mentioned there about swapping them out. So I think that's quite a useful point to make, in that a lot of patches, Serum, Diva, whatever it is you use, will have the effects chain already set up. It's always worth going in there and having a look and see what's in there and disabling them and doing what you said, using your Valhalla Super Massive, a bit of foreshadowing there, or the TAL Chorus, for example, and whipping the one out of the patch or disabling it, and then using one of those with similar settings to get a different sound. Often overlooked, I find.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Tim. My first one is one that I've probably banged on before on the podcast about this, and I'm fairly certain I got this as soon as it dropped, and that is the Slate Digital Fresh Air. Tried to get a nice bit of reverb as I say that, maybe, in a bit of post-production. A dynamic high-frequency processor. So you've got 2 knobs, basically, with that one, the mid-air and the high-air. And it's got some great presets in there. But what I find with that is, if you do use the presets, I find with Fresh Air, you've got to be very careful. I find they can be quite aggressive, the presets with Fresh Air. And also as well, there's a gain tool in it. And that when you do use it, I find that gain staging is quite important, as it always is with Fresh Air, because it does add a lot of signal level to whatever you use it on. But things I use it on, mainly claps and hi-hats. Claps and hi-hats. Now, I've known
really
individuals.
I hadn't thought of using it on claps and hi-hats, bizarrely enough.
No, yeah, I often do use it. I would say almost all of them. Yeah,
brilliant.
With claps, I dial it right, but it's very, very subtle. With hi-hats, more so. But there's a particular preset in there. Ooh, there's not many, and I can't remember what it's called. But I usually start with that one and then tailor it slightly. Again, it's quite aggressive, so as soon as you put it on, you will hear the difference, and then dial it back. But I've known individuals use it on vocals. I've never used it on a vocal, even across a mix bus.
Before.
Never done that. Done that. But I've heard you can use it on a mix bus. No, I don't know if I'd do that personally. Maybe I don't know.
Well, it might be a bit of a rescue remedy at that point, but I get it if you're missing, because it's adding harmonic content, isn't it?
Yeah,
really, you know.
Ultimately, yeah. Is it kind of a form of saturation? I'm not entirely sure. I think so. It kind of is in a way, isn't it?
But just a narrow band of it, isn't it? So it's sort of focused into the frequency range you're using, I think. Yeah.
But I find it really, really good on claps and hats. Again, really subtle. If I find that I'm having to use a lot of it on a clap, I'll probably just replace the clap sample rather than just use excessive amounts of Fresh Air on it. And the same with the hi-hat as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I do think it's good. I like it, but I mean, I've even used it on acoustic guitars, like if they were really lacking a bit of clarity when I'm mixing them. But again, it's just less is more with that plugin, because if you put it on everything, have it on your vocal and then all your backing vocals, and before you know it, it's sizzle fest and everything is sort of
Yeah, I love that sizzle. What you'll do there is sizzle fest. You'll put it on all of these channels, right, and then you'll have to get soothe on the mix bus, just to control
reduce all of the
that resonant sizzle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just, that is the sort of thing that happens. Yeah, just be really, really, sort of. But in the right, I think you've got it. That kind of just pinpoint certain things to bring them out a little bit, and maybe they haven't got enough, to cut through or to sparkle in a mix, and it's really good for that.
Yeah, agreed. So that's that's Slate Digital Fresh Air. So I'll now throw the proverbial ball back to you.
Yeah, it's getting contested here. All of these, there's lots of options, but I boringly put down Saturation Knob by Soft Tube, which is yes, it's not the most exciting of plugins, but basically it's one large dial that you can turn up and down, which adds saturation into your mix. It doesn't add sort of very obvious distortion or anything like that, certainly at the lower volumes. You can put it on virtually anything to add a bit of saturation. It's then got a sort of switch that goes from low, neutral and high. And actually that doesn't work quite the way everyone thinks it does. I think when you have it on low, it doesn't affect the low frequencies and affects the frequencies above it. When it's on the mid frequency, I think it affects the low and the high, and then with the high it affects the mid and the low, something like that. It doesn't quite work the way you think it does. I could be wrong, but I heard it explained that way. The thing that's nice now is the version they've got out has got automatic gain sort of compensation on it as well. So it's really handy, because you can even put it on your mix bus. In fact, it's a really great plugin on a mix bus, because you can just add in just subtly. You might even find it's 1 or 2 or something, just a really, really low sort of number, but at low settings it still adds just enough saturation to just add some life to your mix. It's just really nice. But yeah, but it's great on bass, it's good on vocal, it's good on sort of a little bit of cut on guitars, anything where you're just trying to get a little bit more presence out of something. Again, I suppose it's adding harmonic content in some way. But yeah, I like it. It's subtle, so you can, you know, use it without sort of turning everything into a sort of oversaturated mush, really, and making things sound distorted when you don't want to. So yeah,
it's a plugin that I used to use quite a lot, and I think I upgraded Logic, or I might have formatted my device, and I forgot about it. But now, the way you've described it, I'm like, yes, I remember that now. I used to use it quite extensively. Yeah. Indeed.
I mean, obviously, there's some good saturation plugins probably in Logic already, and there are in Cubase, you know, so there are some good ones around anyway.
What I like about plugins like that is that you can get an outcome really quickly without having to do much. You got like those three parameters, that one parameter you can switch between three positions, and you got a knob. And you can quickly get results without having to. For example, I was using Logic's Chroma Glow just yesterday or the day before, and then you've got, which is a fantastic free plugin, but you've got all these other parameters in there that you can change, and you're kind of like, oh man, I just want something that I can switch quickly, and that's what I really like about that. And there are so many plugins, free plugins like that. Another one, the one it's not one of the ones I was going to mention, but you signposted it to me last year, was the what was it? The sub
filter.
Yes, BX sub filter.
Yeah.
Again, very simple. Obviously, it is a sort of macro from its bigger brother, but it's just like, it's that simplicity, getting a result from it really quick.
Just add some sub into your whatever signal you want, some sub oscillation or sub frequency. Yeah, it's brilliant. Like I think actually all of the things I sort of use the most, like sort of free ones, do tend to have that simplicity of use that you just go, you know, I can dial in what I need with a few strokes, and it's not complex. Yeah.
Come back to Fresh Air is very much like that. The one I mentioned just now, and the TAL Chorus. It's just simplicity.
Yeah, simplicity. Yeah,
that's what it needs. So that's number two. So my number two was, again, I suppose it is quite simple. There's a bit more to it. It's the TDR Nova EQ, which is a 4-band parametric EQ, and obviously you got low and high cut as well. But a fantastic free EQ, one that I've used for a very long time now. But I think one great thing about it is that it's got dynamic EQ. So if you do want dynamic EQ, I don't know, does the Cubase stock plugin have? I'm trying to think if Logic does dynamic EQ. I don't think it does. I could be wrong. Does
Cubase now has it? It has something called frequency, which is a plug-in EQ, so not the channel EQ, but like a plug-in EQ, which that has dynamic.
I'll have to check now. I don't know if Logic does. I love the Logic EQ, but I don't know if it does have dynamic. Anybody listening or watching be able to correct me on that. But I mean, there's not a massive amount to say with regards to TDR Nova. It is a great EQ, 4-band parametric. Obviously, like I said, the low and high cut, but the fact it's got the dynamic EQ element of it. So if you do have, you're using a DAW that doesn't have that, and if you want a dynamic EQ, then you could reach for something like TDR Nova. And again, I've used it on many a project, and I like the interface.
It's pretty smooth sounding as well, isn't it? It does sound like kind of a high quality to it.
Yeah. I find it's not destructive is not the right word, but it doesn't impart any nasty artifacts. I find I don't really get that from it, and it's very easy to use. I don't use it in a surgical context. That's one thing I don't really use it for. But I suppose you can do. But I don't really use it for that. If I'm using Nova EQ, it's usually broad strokes. I find if I am using it versus anything really surgical.
I find. I mean, it's like why something like Pro Q3, which is obviously very expensive, but like Fab Filter or whatever. That, I mean, obviously it's very highly featured and can do lots of different things, but it does have a really sort of smooth kind of algorithm that means that you can use quite a lot of it. You can use settings and not sort of introduce too much sort of artifacts that you didn't want. And I would say TDR Nova, considering it's free, is very surprising as to the quality of it. It's really good and high quality. I mean, a lot of us would be probably hard pushed to tell the difference, in terms of quality of sound. If you're boosting or cutting, it's sort of very smooth sounding. I tend to use actually frequency within Cubase, which is built in, and I just happen to like it. It works really well. But I didn't use dynamic EQ at all until a few years ago. Really, it wasn't really an option years ago, but I love it now. It is really good.
Yeah,
it's great to have. Yeah,
it's something that I don't reach for that often, but when I do, I often find it's usually around the similar sort of frequency range. I find I use it a lot in sort of, particularly with vocals, I'd say around like the mid range, the higher mids, and then bass. I've got any like resonant bass frequencies or something coming through. But oftentimes I find that I often dig into the bass and the kick and find out, well, what's the frequency build up and going on here, rather than go for the dynamic EQ. But no, I think it's great to have it available. Particularly with mastering.
Yeah, sure.
Mastering.
It's a good plugin, that.
Indeed. So that is my second. So third. Tim.
Well, you stole my third.
Oh, shit, did I?
You said BX subfilter. But it's all right, because I have so many of them lined up.
Yeah.
I'll let you off that one. But I'll explain. BX subfilter, we sort of explained, so that it's just like, it's very simple, but like, it enables you to add sort of sub to say you've got a kick or whatever, and like you can dial in some sort of sub frequencies that you might think you don't need, but like it's surprising how just a little bit of weight in 20, 30, 40k, you have to be really cautious with it, but that's a very simple plugin. I think from Plugin Alliance, I think that's where it comes from. But anyway, I think it comes as part of, they've got a free pack or a load of free plugins, some of which are good and some of which I don't know why you want them, but but that's a pretty great free plugin. But I will lob that off the list as we've covered it, and I will put in my into number 3 Super Massive, which you equally mentioned earlier, but we didn't discuss. But like Super Massive has got to be in there, really. Valhalla Super Massive. I mean, I was saying to Marc earlier, like, I don't really know how this works, but like, I mean, it sounds good. Yeah, it just sounds good, doesn't it, mate? It's just like, all these sort of, I get the general thing is like, it creates dense sort of, delays stroke reverbs. I think that's the thing. It's sort of, it sits on that weird sort of point between what is an echo and a delay and a reverb, because obviously reverbs are sort of essentially just dense in echoes, really. But like, it's just great when you want something that is massive and over the top and crazy, and you're putting maybe you've got some effects in your track and you just want them to go on forever or whatever. You want those kind of things, or you want a throw on a vocal to go through it, or I mean, it can be good on leads on guitar and that sort of stuff. Like, again, I think automation's quite useful with this one, so that it doesn't take over the entire mix. But I also like the fact that it's got a preset that's something, I think it's called from Benson or something, like USA or something. So that being my surname, I often choose this reverb that's like got my surname on it, and I have no idea why, but it sounds massive and cool, and I like the Benson reverb setting on it.
You could make it an appropriation claim and just say it's one of the yours that you developed for the plugin.
Yeah, one of Valhalla. But I like it. Do you? I think you said you use it a bit.
Yeah, I've got it. I haven't used it for a while, but it's one of those ones where, like you said, if I would say probably more so in breakdowns. I find. So I quite like making
great
these
for breakdowns.
I like making these sort of intricate might be the wrong word, but these sort of rich soundscapes, and I find it's really good for that. But again, automation, like you don't want it all the way through, because then you just have this weird, depending on what patch you use or how you set it up. But yeah, most notably in like a breakdown, or maybe also at the end of a track if I want something to continue on. I would use
because the feedback and warp can make it go quite insane, and you do have to watch out. I've sometimes stopped my track and go, "What's that sound in the background?" Only to find out it's like, super massive just going in the background still. So like you do have to watch out that it's not just taken over your entire track.
I've done that. I've had it with Logic, where it does when you have a track and then you set a bus, an output on a track, it automatically creates an auxiliary send if one doesn't already exist. So I've had instances in the past where I've just got these wild sends and these various other things happening with regards to that. So happens a lot. Yeah. One thing I hate about Logic, that, to be fair, it's a right pain in the arse. You sat there because you can't see all your sends in one view on your monitor. And then something is just like poking out so much, and then I'm trying to work out why. And it's because Logic decided to create an additional auxiliary send, which is just like duplicating and sending out extra signal level. But that's my grind on Logic anyway. But no, Super Massive is great.
Similar thing where like I create a send and somehow it automatically sends the sends out to another send. I don't know how it routes it. It's like routes your delay into your reverb, and you'll be at some point you go like, that's a very weird sound, I didn't mean this, and you get this decay that's sort of going on forever as your delay sends into your reverb, or your reverb into your delay, or something like that, and then you unpick it and figure out what's going on. But I mean, I do think it's human error, but like it's easy to do because I keep doing it, so
yeah, and no matter how many times it happens, it happens again. It happens again. Yeah. Do that all the time. So Super Massive, yes, a very good one. So my third and final one is the Good Hertz mid-side matrix. So this is again, it is a tool plugin that is incredibly simple. It is in terms of its GUI, in terms of its setup. So you've got mid-side encoding, decoding, and you could increase, decrease the mid, or you could increase, decrease the sides. And I find it's a fantastic tool. I don't really use it in mixing that much. I can't remember the last time I used it in a mix, to be honest, unless somebody sends me a stem of a group, for example, if it's drums or as a synth group or something like that, but mainly in mastering. But I find with this plugin, again, it's kind of like Fresh Air. Very rarely do I go by more than like a 1 dB boost on the sides. It's very, very limited, because they're also with this as well, if I remember rightly, because I've not actually seen it in there, but I don't think there is a gain knob on there, or a dry wet knob on there. But one thing I've done in mastering in the past, if in particular if I've got a chorus or something and I just want to open out rear or a breakdown just slightly, I might automate the mid-side matrix and just have it like boost by 0.5 on the sides during a breakdown or something like that. But that's the times.
Add a bit of width to the breakdown.
Yeah. So you've got a sort of this focused verse, and then just a really like 0.5 boost of the sides. I suppose you could go the other way and do a 0.5 cut or decrease on the mids, but usually I go with a boost on the sides in the chorus just to open it out, or during the breakdown, and then drop it back again. And that's really the only times I use it, but I do use it quite a lot for that reason. So that's the mid-side matrix. Again, very simple tool. I'm fairly confident in my convictions here that it's just two parameters of a mid and side boost or decrease with that one there. But word of warning, just be careful. From my experience, you don't want to do like wild boosts of the sides of like 3 or 4 dB, because then shit gets weird. Always check it with a what is it? I can't remember the name of it now. I use Isotope Insight to check the phase correlation. Can't remember what they're called. No, it's gone. Phase correlation meter. There we go. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, the scope sort of thing.
Yeah. If you're going to use this particular tool and you do make any boosts on the sides, always check your phase correlation, because again, shit can get weird. So use it with caution, but it works really well.
Are we allowed a few honourable mentions?
Yeah. We'll move on to honourable mentions now. So one of mine was Supermassive. So we've been through that. The other one, and I did an episode on this, is Vital. And now technically, you can download and you have a free subscription. So maybe it's not technically a free plugin. There is a free subscription for Vital because you can have paid subscriptions for Vital.
Right.
But that would be an honourable mention in terms of that's a synth. So
it's amazing synth, yeah.
Oh yeah. I have only scratched the surface, but what I've seen so far, I think it's brilliant. And again, simplicity.
Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah, I mean, if we go into VSTs, like there are quite a few of those around. And I mean, it's tricky, isn't it? Because there are 1,000,000,001 sort of analog synths, sort of out there, sort of free ones. Like Vital's, like sort of isn't Vital a wavetable synth, really? Isn't that
yes.
Yeah. So like Serum sort of thing. Yeah. But I think it stands alone in sort of really, outside of a paid option like Serum. I think it's one of the best. Yeah, that's really good. I was going to mention there's a couple of sort of things like deals actually where you can get free sort of a whole series of things like the waves. I know waves are so it can be a little bit divisive at moments, but like waves, if you can cope with being attached to the company, give you 9 essential plugins for free, which includes VComp and VEQ3, which are really good compressor and EQ, and like there's quite a lot of other stuff. You get an FM synth in there called Flow or something. I mean, for free. I guess you have to sort of download the Waves app and sign up into something like that. But like, it's that's really good. And Isotope do a similar sort of thing. You have to have the Isotope app, I think, and like they've got an EQ, the Isotope sort of Ozone 11 EQ, I think, something like that, which is just free, which is a pretty high functioning, high quality EQ. They've got Isotope Vinyl, which is a really cool little vinyl sort of plugin, sort of mimics vinyl record sort of sound. That's really good. And they've got like the Imager, which I use a lot actually, just a really simple Imager, just to widen things out a little bit. And the Doubler as part of that. And the Doubler is really good on vocals sometimes, or any sort of mono sort of source, because and the image is good like that because it's got a stereoizer, so it can make things a bit broader if it's a mono source. So they're kind of just useful tools, aren't they? So I would say they're really great, like those kind of little things for nothing. And the Chow tape was my last one, which is
I've not heard of that one before. The Chow. Is that CHOW?
Yes, CHOW. Yeah,
there we go.
Tape. Chow tape model.
Just looking it up now.
Yeah, and it's quite a boring looking plugin in some ways. It doesn't look sort of amazing on the GUI, but like it does some really kind of cool things, from saturation to weird wobbliness. All that kind of, to sort of glitchiness, to all sorts of different tape style effects. And I thought it was pretty good for nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here. I'm going to dive into that. I mean, it looks quite interesting. It's one that I've not.
Yeah,
it's also reminded me about Isotope Vinyl as well. I need to. Let's get that one.
They're kind of different colours, aren't they? That you do. I mean, I haven't got a vinyl thing. I haven't got a tape thing that does the similar type. Tape emulation within Cubase. I mean, I've got like stuff in my DAW that goes like, we'll do a bit of tape saturation or something like that, but it doesn't really like copy the kind of like sort of different properties of tape, where it gets a bit sort of chewed and garbled and all those sorts of things, which is the more lo-fi kind of side of it, which is quite nice. I like that kind of exploring.
You can do that with vinyl, can't you? You can. There's a lo-fi setting with vinyl. It's been a very long time since I've used it.
Yeah, it does some really good things like that.
Yeah,
vinyl again.
I remember.
Great for degrading stuff and messing it up. Like, you have to be a bit cautious on these things. Especially if you're producing something that's meant to sound very hi-fi, you might not want to use it. But don't want the 1930s setting on the vinyl, whatever it is, 1950s. I've forgotten. It goes quite old school.
It does, yeah. And it can get quite destructive. So again, it depends what the sound you're going for, but. No, all very good honourable mentions. I was going to mention one, but then I looked it up, and it turns out it's not free anymore. So,
damn.
Yeah, there are many plugins that I've got for free, and I guess they're loss leaders from the organisation, which are no longer free. And it was the Baby Audio Comeback Kid. It's a delay plugin, but
it's a really nice delay, isn't it?
It is
actually, but yeah.
But I managed to pick it up for free during a. And I was just double checking because I was going to mention that, but unfortunately, audience, it's not free. It's like $69 now.
Again, there are these ones that do come up just sometimes, don't they? It's
UAD.
Yeah. UAD's like the LA2A came up, didn't it, and things like that.
Yeah. And I jumped on that. It's worth. I mean, I don't like. I say this, and I've got a mailing list myself, but I often don't like joining mailing lists, which is quite ironic. But being on the UAD mailing list is quite good for that reason, because you do get these random campaigns where you'll get a really high quality free plugin from UAD, and which in turn I then went on and bought more. So it did work from a marketing perspective for them. But most definitely, I think it's worth doing that. If you've got a particular company that you like their plugins, it's probably worth being at least following them on social media just to keep an eye out, and in watering holes online, because people will post when shit's being given away for free and jumping on that.
Yeah, I've got about 4 Softube plugins which were all just given away by Softube for free, and I really like the saturation knob, which is Softube, but then I got a whole host of other ones which are all quite good, but I have to admit, I just haven't really had the time to use.
I find that.
Yeah.
I get all these plugins, and then I'm in a mix session, and then I just still go back to the ones that I always use.
I have that problem all the time.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. Some honourable mentions there, folks, and I will put links to all of the plugins mentioned in this episode in the episode description. And just to say, I should have said this right at the beginning, this episode is in no way, shape or form sponsored by any of the organisations,
what a shame,
plugin vendors that we've mentioned. It is not at all. This is just our opinion. It is an advice buffet, as it were. But if you have a favourite free plugin that you use all the time, send us a message. Click that send me a message link in the episode description and let us know what plugin it is. Maybe it's one that should be in the honourable mention list or in the top 3. And it's a challenge to you as well, folks listening. Choose one of the 3 free plugins that we've mentioned and use it in a project, and let us know how you get on. Again, you can click that link in the episode description. It'd be interesting to know your thoughts and opinions on what we've mentioned, because you might not agree with what we've mentioned. You might not. Tim, thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
You're welcome.
Any news, anything on the horizon?
That is a good question. I mean, I need to, as soon as I've got a track out, I'm beginning to think, oh gosh, I've got to create another one now. So I need, but I as of yet, I'm sort of busy working with Drew Knight, actually, at the moment on a release of a track of his, which is, I think it's going to be a great track. So I'm really looking forward to finishing that for him, and working on a couple of other projects for clients at the moment. At some point there will be some more IL9. Probably by the time this comes out, there'll be another single. But Night Trains is the last one at the moment. But I'm trying to hit them every month really, and not drop any months. I've made it so far, I think, through the year. I'm trying to do sort of, and I dropped an album, so I'm feeling like I've been doing all right. Yeah,
you do well, mate. I hit the skids a touch, so I haven't released anything since July, but I'm hoping to pick it up again myself. Probably won't be September. I'm looking for early October, and then getting back on the.
You've got quite a bit coming online that doesn't involve audio, doesn't it?
Yes, indeed, yeah. So I'm going to be getting married in October. So that is my excuse
Yeah,
I say excuse. It's it hasn't really been stressful, touch wood, so far. So yeah, we'll see what happens with music releases. But no, folks, if you're listening to this, I don't know why I said no then. Do click the link in the episode. If we do have any releases when this drops, I will put links to them in the episode description. Definitely. So always check there, because this is recorded on the 16th of September. So between now and the release date, we might actually get something else.
Be something going.
Who knows? Tim, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. And folks.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Until next time, stay inspired, keep creating, and don't be afraid to experiment inside the mix.